Hi everyone, this is NMR and today we are back for another movie review. We're talking about Ada Omodadi. When Ada Omodadi was released in the cinema a while back, there were so many positive reviews. Some people even said it was one of the best when you compare it to the other popular movies that were released in the cinema around that time. So for a minute, I really wished I could have gone to the cinema to see this one. I was jealous. Anyway, Ada Omodadi was released on Netflix recently, and I think it's also showing on Circuit TV, and I have now seen it. Sorry for the laugh. Anyway, if you have watched it already, you most likely know what I am about to say. But if you have not seen this one, let me start by telling you to lower your expectations before you watch it. I mean, ignore everything you heard about it while it was showing in the cinema because none of it is true. Welcome to Nigerian Movie Reviews. In this video, I'm going to be addressing what worked, and I'm also going to talk about the issues that I noticed while I was watching and why I was so disappointed, like, with everything. In the end, I'm going to rate this film on a scale of 1 to 10. I would like to hear from you, of course. Please be sure to drop a comment and just share your thoughts with me. Like, what did you think about the film? Did it meet your expectations or whatnot? Ada Omodadi follows the story of Pero, played by Omowumi Dada, who was the eldest daughter of Chief and Mrs. Balogun. She's set to marry Victor, played by Tayo Fanero, but her life takes a dramatic turn when a man named Ifeanyi suddenly appears, claiming to be her biological father, and he just turned her perfect life upside down. What did I like about this film? Not much, to be honest. I mean, there was really nothing I liked enough to specifically call out. It was quite bland to me. It was not what I was expecting at all. However, it is a decent one to have in the background while you do other things around the house. I know, I imagine some people would say things like, oh, it's Mercy Aigbe's first film, so we should cut her some slack. But unfortunately, I don't have much slack to give at the moment because the issues with this film, there were just too many to ignore. So what were the issues? Let me say that the story was not bad. It was a simple one that could have made a decent film. However, the storytelling was extremely poor. And as such, this film is more likely to annoy you than entertain you. When I heard the movie title Ada Omodadi, I was expecting a very nice and warm story about a father and daughter bond, right? You know, we always see stories about mothers and their daughters, but we don't see enough spotlighting fathers. So I was really happy about this one, and I was hoping to see a film that would show the deep and wholesome connection between a father and his daughter. Unfortunately, Ada turned out to be a silly girl, and her connection with her father was not all that. In fact, there was nothing there. We were not invested in Pero's relationship with the father who raised her, and we were definitely not interested in the relationship between her and this new biological father that suddenly appeared. The way the story progressed did not follow a natural flow, in my opinion. For someone who was raised by a man who did everything for her, like Chief Balogun did everything a father would do, Pero moved on too fast and clung to this new man, who she later found out hurt her mother and abandoned her as a child. It just did not make any sense to me. She was behaving like someone that did not know a father's love. So the relationship between Pero and the two fathers, it was a no for me. The relationship between Pero and her fiance was another weird one. There was no love, no connection, no chemistry. They could not even convince anyone that those two people were in love and about to get married. I remember the proposal scene very clearly. It was not nice at all. Moving on, Ada Omodadi was weighed down by poor dialogue and poorly executed scenes. There was that place where Chinwe Talu Agu, is that how to pronounce his name? He said, when a Yoruba woman tells you to koshidanu, she means war. I was like, Azal. Like, what does that even mean? Like, the dialogues generally just did not make sense. Like, there was that scene where the younger girl, she just casually said, oh, daddy, I want you to buy me a $15,000 bag. Like, they were just at the breakfast table. It was so cringe and it was unbelievable. It reminded me of those old Yoruba films where Chief and his wife would just casually be talking about millions and billions when they obviously did not look like they could afford anything. So the lines were just off to me, right? I must say that, you know that scene where Pero called her father to ask him to buy her a bag? It did not give what they thought it would give. It was cringe, it was awkward, it was unnecessary, it was extremely uncomfortable to watch because she had just become the MD of a company. So what was the point of that scene? I think that was the most annoying scene in this film to me. No, actually, no, sorry. That bathtub scene where Victor was in a bathtub, that was actually the worst. Oh my god, it was terrible. I strongly believe that the scenes that could have made this film deep, that could have like made it very impressive, very powerful, I thought they were poorly executed. What do I mean? For example, there was that scene where Pero's mother told her the full story about how the Ifeanyi guy treated her poorly. That should have been a powerful scene. Like, it should have been so solid. It should have moved all of us to tears. It should have been so deep, right? There was also that scene where Pero's father, that is the one who raised her, he went to her room to speak to her. I thought that was going to be like another powerful scene that would just show us the bond between this man and this child that he raised, even though she was not like his blood. But it was just flat, right? Another thing I did not like about this film was the acting. See, I know Omowumi Dada is not a bad actress, right? Her performance just did not make an impression on me, right? This might be because the character Pero had no layers or depth, but I've definitely seen Omowumi do better. In this film, she was just there. Sola Sobowale was her usual self. Make of that what you will. I'm not saying anything. Charles Okafor, Dele Odule, Chinwetalu Agu, they're like Nollywood OGs, and they were in this film. So I won't say they were terrible, but it just did not feel like they got enough direction to bring out the best in them. I also wondered why Fina was in this film. Her performance was not bad, right? But she could not even speak Yoruba. And I'm like, the lead, the mother, Sola Sobowale, is a Yoruba woman. So why not just look for a Yoruba young girl to cast? It's not like Fina actually looks anything like Sola Sobowale. So in the scene where Fina was supposed to be talking, she was conveniently mute because she could not speak Yoruba. So it was so weird to me. But the one person whose performance like offended my soul was Tayo Faniro. And see, it made me wonder, do they do auditions in Nollywood? Like, it is impossible that Tayo Faniro auditioned and it was considered the best fit for this role. His performance was so poor. Like, this movie had enough issues, but anytime Tayo appeared on screen with his plastic performance, it just made me more upset. Moving on, another issue I had with this film was that they gave us unlikable characters. What do I mean? I mean, they were too annoying. We could not root for any of them. But it annoyed my soul, because I did not understand how she was showing more concern and support for this irresponsible man who abandoned her mother and her when she was a child. Like, she didn't show one sign of care or empathy for her mother. She did not show any serious loyalty to this father that raised her. As far as I'm concerned, she spent too much time with the wrong father. I wanted to understand like the anger she was showing and the way she kept on lashing out, telling her parents, "You deceived me," telling her father, "You should have told me." But I did not understand, to be honest, because in my mind I'm like, told you what? What exactly should they have told you? What should the father, the guy, what should he have told you? Right? At what point should he have called you to tell you? I would have understood it if her dominant emotion was fear. She should have been worried, like, does this change anything? Does this change her position in the family? Does this change her inheritance? Does this change her standing? But she wasn't concerned about all those things. She was just saying, I want to know where I'm from. I want to know my roots. she was not somebody that has ever doubted like where she was from. So it just seemed odd to me. Like, I would have loved to see her spend more time with the man who raised her, doing things they love to do together, to remind them like of how special their bond was, whether they were blood related or not. But in this film, it was just frustrating to watch the character called Pero. She was just behaving anyhow. Another character I did not like, Ifeanyi, very stinking character. We did not see him evolve. We did not see him grow. As a young man, he was a bottom barrel man. As an old man, he was still annoying and entitled. So the characters were not even making somebody happy. So how do you appreciate a film? How do you like a film when you do not even like the characters? Another issue I noticed while watching this film was the fact that it seemed they were on a different time frame. Like, in one day, they were able to do so much. Like, things that should happen over several days, they did it in one day. I did not understand how that happened, but it was like they had 72 hours packed into one day in this film. Same day, she called the man that she was coming. Before she got there, he had already hired drummers, printed banner, invited all his family members. Then she left there, went to see her man. He spoke to her. Then she went back again to meet this man. I'm like, all in one day? It didn't make any sense to me, right? Like, it didn't make any sense at all. I must also mention that the audio, soundtrack, everything that Sha related to hearing in this film, it was bad. At some point, it was a struggle to hear them speak because everything was just clashing. And in my mind, I'm like, I thought we left all these things behind in 2001. Editing was also poor. It felt like some scenes were missing. There was one particular scene like that. Pero was looking at baby pictures with her sister. Then her mother walked in. Suddenly, they just took us back to the previous day where she was having a conversation with her mother, and everything about the other scene where she was talking about baby pictures with her sister, everything had been forgotten. I'm like, what is going on? What exactly is happening here? Did you also have questions while watching this film? Because as for me, I had questions. Oh, I wondered how Ifeanyi got Pero's phone number. I wondered how he conveniently had the other half of that family picture, because at what point did they actually take time to split properties and even split a photograph? It just seemed too convenient for me, right? Did you also notice that the baby, like baby Pero, they said she was convulsing and about to die. Every time the camera flashed to this baby's face, this baby looked fine. I'm like, is this not the child that is supposed to be convulsing and dying? Can you people pay attention to details? Finally, I couldn't help but wonder what on earth that wedding ceremony was. Like, that wedding was supposed to be like the icing on the cake. It was supposed to add that fun vibe to the movie. You know, like the movie Wedding Party, right? It was just so flat. I thought it was a shameless copycat. It tried to copy Wedding Party, but it still did not understand the assignment. Omowumi Dada tried to recycle some of the Wedding Party tropes, but it just lacked the charm and class, right? In the end, Omowumi Dada tried for a sentimental conclusion that it did not earn, in my opinion, and it was a big no for me. If I am to rate this film, I will rate it 3.5 over 10. Omowumi Dada was not a good watch for me, but who knows? You might like it. What did you think about this film? Please share in the comment section below. Thank you for watching my video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.